Hey guys, it's CWillyHD here, and welcome back to Game Breakers. This time I want to cover a bunch of glitches in Super Mario Galaxy. This game has pretty much every type of glitch you can think of, so let's get into it. Let's kick off this episode with the glitch you can do in the Comet Observatory. Grab the red star and point your cursor at Mario. Press B to fire a star bit and spin quickly after. You'll actually collect the star bit back instead of losing it like normal. You can also hold B and shake to collect a few at a time. This only works when the power-up is active and you're pointing at Mario, but it's still pretty interesting. Anywhere during the game, if you're on 1 HP, take damage and then collect a coin as you're about to die, the death animation never plays and you recover back to 1 HP. While we're here, let me showcase another minor thing. Mario will slouch over when he's low on health, but if you enter first person and back out, Mario will be standing fine. However, his eyes are still half shut and breathing heavily. Speaking of death glitches, during a speedrun mission, if you're in the air as the time runs out, Mario will stay floating there as he dies. Still in Good Egg Galaxy, select King Caliente's battle fleet. Right as you land, there will be a launch star on top of the house ready for you to take. However, don't blast off right away. Get on the roof and begin to go down the pipe. As you start to enter it, shake the Wiimote. You'll leave for the next planet, but the music cuts out. I guess when you enter a pipe, the game has the music fade out so the next track can be played. In this case, the one when you enter inside of a planet. Since technically we never went down the pipe, no music was told to play, so we're just left in silence. All you can hear now is Mario walking and other sound effects. It's pretty eerie this way. Music does kick back in when you enter the pirate ships, as a new track is supposed to play there anyway. The first boss fight, Bowser Jr.'s robot reactor, has you start on a small planet where we can break a cage to take the launch star over to Megaleg. However, we can skip that using a triple jump. Begin one near the cage launch star so the final jump is off the top of the cage. Shake as you're at the peak of that jump and you'll be pulled towards the other planet. Since we didn't take the launch star, we never touched the trigger for the cutscene to start and Megaleg to move. So when we land in, nothing happens. We're now able to explore a completely frozen Megaleg with no rotating platforms or firing bullets. That also means we aren't able to collect the Grand Star this way, since we need to break the cage. When you're done screwing around, run down to this platform here and the cutscene will kick in as usual. If you were to do this triple jump skip and run right for the trigger, it would be quicker than doing the level normally. Next up we have Space Junk Galaxy. Besides having some fantastic music, it's full of glitches too. After selecting Camilla's airship attack, you'll land on this yellow Starshroom which we can clip inside of. Begin running, and as you reach this dark black line for the lid of the ship, long jump towards the red one. If done correctly, Mario will bonk off the side of it and warp inside of the yellow ship. Things can be a little weird in here as gravity gets a little confused. You can also enter first person and have a look around, which looks pretty cool. You'll quickly notice that there's no way out of this place, so your only option is to pause and quit out of the level. It's not too big a deal as you start off the level right here anyway. In the same mission, play through the level normally until you reach the second airship with the Koopa shell. Head towards the back of the ship and long jump off the edge. You don't end up dying, so wait until gravity shifts. When it does, shake the Wiimote and hold right. After a bit more waiting, you'll land on these Polestar planets, an area of the stage that you normally cannot access during this mission. It's strange to see these planets just load in abruptly and the music quickly change to the peaceful track we all know and love. Since we're not supposed to be here, we can't collect any stars or explore too much. I tried to backtrack but couldn't get over to the spaceship even with a well-timed triple jump. After using the Polestars and Tarantox's Tangled Web, you'll reach this planet. You're normally supposed to drop down and find your way back to the launch star, but if we spin at just the right spot, we can get pulled into it and break through the glass. This pretty much skips the entire planet. Once you land in from that launch star, you'll reach a toad stuck in a sling pod. After sending them over to the next one, you'll be able to speak to the toad from over here. No matter where you stand on this platform, you have the ability to yell over to the toad and talk to him. This probably happens because the game has a trigger on this entire platform for the toad to start speaking to you for the first time. When you initially walk up here, Toad starts talking to you, so I guess the zone stays behind even though he's reasonably far away. You can go to the next pod where Toad's stuck again and talk to him, but after flinging him over to the ship, you're no longer able to. So it's only that one pod due to the initial trigger. This next one can only be done with Luigi and is pretty difficult. Head into Bowser's Star Reactor into this point with the Thwomps. Get on top of the first one and head towards the back left corner. Once it crashes down, wait for it to rise, and as it's doing so, run forward. Long jump just as you reach the end, and the momentum from the thwomp should give you enough extra height we need. Shake just before you reach the platform and you should be able to wall kick off the side. Hold the direction of the platform and shake once more to get on top of this pillar where Bowser usually lands in. By doing this glitch, we've skipped over the cutscene trigger so he never drops in. We can run down the platforms pretty much doing the sequence in reverse. When you get far enough down, the cutscene will start, but since we're not in the correct position, the camera does this. We've now successfully soft locked the game, so all we can do is reset. In Beach Ball's galaxy, while jumping up waterfalls, use a cataquack to access the ice flower and jump up this first waterfall. When you reach the top of it, turn and long jump at the water. You'll bonk off, fall down, and then teleport back up. This warp never occurs anywhere else, so I'm not really sure why it happens. I couldn't get it to happen on other waterfalls either, so it's pretty strange. Bubblebree's galaxy has a single pretty tricky star that can cause some frustration. However, after taking the launch star out of the first area, we can skip the rest of the level. Walk to the edge of the platform you landed on and perform a backflip. Instead of dying, you'll land on an invisible platform above the rocks. All that's left to do is long jump across to the right and collect the star that's waiting right there. Moving over to Gusty Galaxy, in the first mission, Luigi in the Haunted Mansion, you'll fly past these little purple starbit pods. We can actually get onto one of those using this pole star on the right. Start by holding A to get pulled into it and holding down on the control stick. Shake the nunchuck twice, let go of A, then press A while pointing at the pole star. Keep repeating this process and always hold down on the control stick. It looks pretty complicated, but my advice is to just shake the nunchuck the entire time, pressing A until the pole star beam reaches Mario and then let go. You should begin to rise up and go further and further away from the mansion until you eventually get pulled into the pod. Sadly, it doesn't shoot out any more starbits to reward you. You can long jump to send Mario flying around for a little, but it does force you to land again. I tried to get back in the pulsar's range to take me back, however you can't keep it active for long enough for the beam to reach you. So once you've had your fun, pause and exit the level. This glitch can be done in a few missions in this galaxy, but I'm going to select the first. Run up to the mansion, but don't go too far or the doors will close behind you. Even if the camera changes, it's still fine. If you walk up to the point where the game would switch over to the mansion track and then turn around and run the other way, we can listen to the tune outside. Even after the effects of a star wear off, the mansion music continues to play. 2 missions later, in Beware of the Bouldergeist, you'll reach this bouncy planet just before the boss fight. Run and long jump in the opposite direction the planet is rotating. If you're lucky, you won't land on any of the little pieces of land and remain in orbit. Shortly after, you'll just randomly die out of nowhere. It's not even like you broke out of the planet's gravitational pull, so it's likely to do something with the amount of time Mario's in the air, as he is floating for quite some time. During Bowser Jr.'s Airship Armada, you'll use cannons to reach other ships. Well, we can actually get onto one that was never intended. Once you're on the second ship, hop in the cannon. Look to the far right until the ship comes into view. Use your cursor to line up at the top right corner of the back of the ship. Now carefully move upwards until the yellow circle is at the top of the propeller. Once you have this, fire. The setup can be kinda tricky as it took me a few tries. The gravity should shift as Mario gets pulled toward the ship. We're now out of bounds in a way as you normally can't board this ship. There's nothing really to see here besides a lone scuttlebug at the front of the ship. There's also no way back, so your only options are to exit the level or die. Just outside the kitchen there's a Luma to feed that'll unlock Drip Drop Galaxy. Once in the level, grab a shell and begin going towards the chest next to the pirate ship. Once you're coming up on it from above, throw the shell at the chest, ground pound it, and swim forward on the pillar. The pufferfish will swim towards you and damage you. However, the momentum from the hit pushes you through the floor and out of bounds. You're now inside the planet and can look at things from a new perspective. There's not a whole lot to do in here, and your air meter is draining. It's a pretty difficult glitch to pull off, at least for me, as it took me close to an hour of attempts. In Gusty Garden's Gravity Scramble, there's a weird glitch we can trigger involving the shift in gravity. When you reach these structures, switch the gravity twice and you'll end up here. Long jump diagonally off the bottom left corner of this first block to send Mario flying into the air. He'll end up landing on these discs from earlier, and now the gravity's messed up from us changing it. Mario will randomly flip around on his own, and controlling him in general can be rather interesting. If you take the launch star back over to the platforms, Mario never lands as the gravity sends him downwards to his death. Before we move on, I want to show off a trick that can be used a lot throughout the game. It allows you to climb slopes that you normally couldn't because they're too steep or slippery. You need to be sliding sitting down, not on your stomach, or it won't work. As you start to slide down the slope, point the control stick in the direction Mario was facing or going towards and jump. As soon as you leave the ground, you can point the control stick in the direction you want him to go. Then as soon as you land, go back to pointing down the hill again. Repeat this and you'll keep gaining height each time until you eventually make it. You can use this in a lot of places, so I recommend learning it. Using that trick, we can get out of bounds in Freezeflame Galaxy. In the mission Hot and Cold Collide, take the launch star over to the second planet and drain the water. Now that the gate has fallen, start a triple jump at the second landing right where the wood starts. As you triple jump up, guide Mario over to the left side of this ledge. You'll have to be quick about it, but you will begin to slide down this, and here's where you need to use the trick I showed you. After a few successful ones, you should be high enough to wall kick off the side and shake once more while holding left to get up and over. You're now out of bounds in a very cool looking area. I say that because the outer edges of this planet are incredibly buggy. At one point, the whole model disappeared, leaving Mario floating out in space. I then got placed in some invisible freezing water along with random gravity ships that caused me to flip constantly. It's one of my favorite glitches this game has to offer. Staying in the same galaxy, reach the end of Freezeflame's Blistering Core mission, where you'll need a Cinder enemy and a Fire Flower. Cool one off and then have it fall back into the lava. While it's there, shake and throw a fireball, and if it lands where the Cinder is, it'll create this glorious effect. There's now a constantly repeating animation of fire and whatever else is in this. Going into first person to get a closer look slows down the game quite a bit. If you shake near this thing, it'll extinguish it and have a little smoke cloud left constantly coming from the lava. In Dusty Din's galaxy, select the first mission, Soaring on the Desert Winds. When you reach the underground portion, you'll encounter these rotating wheels. If you stand on this one and long jump to the other, Mario will bonk off the wheel and be forced inside the original wheel. Kinda like the Starshrooms from Space Junk, except it creates a pretty interesting gravity glitch. You can propel Mario up and down using the control stick, and if you ground pound, this happens. You can get out of the wheel by moving Mario enough that he'll clip back out. While I was wrapping up this glitch, I noticed you can cause Mario to bug out and swap between which way he's facing rapidly by simply holding down the control stick at certain spots of the wheel's rotation. Not anything too groundbreaking though. In Seaside Galaxy, there are two pretty cool glitches we can do. Up first is swimming underwater as Bee Mario. As soon as you land in the Silver Stars of Sea Slide, you'll have a shell and the bee mushroom over on the island. Throw that shell at the glass, and as it shatters, the mushroom will fly up and begin to bounce. After the first bounce and just before the second, pan the camera away so you don't see it bounce again. Keep the camera on Mario, long jump out into the water, turn around and swim back. Once you're back on land, turn the camera back to the mushroom and it should fall through the little island. You can act like the bee power up under the water. The game gets slightly confused on what to do, so your movement will be a little strange. While you do have the fly meter showing, you are losing air like normal, so it might be a good idea to go up for some. However, once you completely surface, normal rules apply. And now for a pretty bizarre glitch in the same level. This glitch can be pretty difficult, so be warned. Have Mario float in some water near land. You'll need to be far enough back that you'll be underwater after jumping up. So start by shaking once to jump out of the water, spin again to go towards the coast, and the third should send you flying into the air if you're lucky. That's why you need to be far enough away so that you land underwater after your first shake in order to do the spinning animation. Like I said, the glitch can be tricky but still really cool looking. Transitioning over to Deep Dark Galaxy, there's a cannon in front that we can use to get out of bounds. Enter it and point the cursor down and to the right until you can see the umbrella. From here, line up this line of the target with the bottom of the umbrella and fire. Mario should land in the sand next to this chair. Press A and hold forward and you'll end up inside of it. Squeeze in between the toad and the ground and you'll pop right through and out of bounds. We can now do a few things while swimming here. Follow the pathway until you fall, and then when the camera catches back up to Mario, you can explore the whole level out of bounds and enter back in certain areas, skipping certain sections of missions. I made a whole video dedicated to this glitch, so check that out if you're interested. You can also swim over to this Starshroom and enter it like we did in Space Junk. Luckily this time we can exit through the top once we're done looking around. Using the cannon normally this time, launch yourself over to this tiny planet here. There's a small blue house we can get inside by crouching and squeezing our way into it. Entering first person creates a neat effect as you're able to see through certain things. It can be kinda buggy as we're not supposed to be here anyway, but hey, it's still kinda cool. Now in Dreadnought's Colossal Cannons, there's a moving platform section with a thwomp. Get on top of it while it's down, and as it rises, run and long jump off the back. The momentum of the thwomp rising combined with your long jump gives you enough distance to reach this platform out of bounds. There's not a whole lot of room up here as you'll fall off if you get too close, and behind you is a death barrier, so moving left and right are your only options. You can get back to the start of this section, but other than that, there's not a whole lot to see. In one of the special levels, Loopdeeswoop Galaxy, walk over to this penguin but don't talk to him. Instead, line up him and the golden gate thing in the background. Backflip and perform a homing ground pound. Mario will bounce off his head and with the momentum land on one of the sides of this gate. Long jump over it and you're now in the waterway without riding the manta. You can swim along the track on your own with no timer and do whatever you want. You can also mount the manta to start the race, but I somehow managed to start it with them facing the wrong way against the current, so I couldn't do anything but die. Still, it's a fun glitch to get on the water racetrack without the manta. And finally, a difficult glitch in the final level of the game, Bowser's Galaxy Reactor. We need to beat Luigi for this one as well due to his higher and longer jumps. So at the final portion of the level before the fight, there are platforms and a cutscene trigger. However, we can skip that with some pretty precise jumps. Hop up the first step and jump when the white and green tiles meet. Move to the left while in the air and long jump as soon as you land. Hold forward and slightly to the left. As soon as your head is in line with the next platform, shake and hold backwards. Now wall kick off and hold forward. Shake just before you touch the ground and try and get back on this ledge as you're falling. If no cutscene triggers, you've done the glitch and can start running towards Bowser. If not, grab the 1-up mushroom ahead and repeat the process. Here's a glitch in regular time. It took me about 10 tries to actually get it down. Now that we've skipped the cutscene, we can go up to Bowser and he doesn't do anything. The only thing he does is move his head to keep you in his sight. It's kinda creepy. When you're done, you can either run back down to trigger the cutscene or jump off the side. So there you have it, a decent amount of glitches in Super Mario Galaxy. I do apologize for such a long downtime in between uploads. I took a little break and the holidays kept me busy. But I hope this video makes up for it anyway, and happy holidays. But for now, I'm gonna get up out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, see ya!